got a new tool called the Thermal Cinch. Now, this is the Thermal Cinch, essentially. This is the tool, but you do need some accessories. But I want to go through this first. So this comes with a wire wrap section down at the bottom, so you can easily store everything in it. It comes with a power button. It's currently plugged in. I click power. You can hear a beep to signify that it's on, and this blue flashing light means that it's warming up. It'll beep again when it's already warmed. And then they have a dust cover that doubles as a station to hold your book while it is cooling. So this is a new to me book binding tool and method. Now this method is not anything new. You can Google thermal binding and you'll find a lot of different things. I purchased this because I got a deal on HSN where I got the machine plus accessories for a better deal than if I were to go on Amazon and buy the machine and accessories. And I really like it so far. It is a fun way to bookbind, and I want to show you a couple tips and techniques to make some soft cover books out of your scrapbook paper. So I'm going to let that warm up on the side, and we're going to talk about the items that you will need in order to make a book. So you're going to need a 12 by 12 piece of paper that's double-sided, and I'll explain why in just a minute. Some paper, your Thermal Cinch glue strips. Now, you can buy glue strips from Amazon. I have not personally done that and tested anything, so do that at your own risk. I have only been using the Thermal Cinch's glue strips, but I'm assuming they're all kind of the same. So what this material is, it's like a hot glue gun strip. And it will melt to bind the pages together. And the other thing you're going to need is some binder clips. So to practice and work through how to do this, I like to take my 8.5 by 11, and there it's warmed up, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and cut in fourths. That way I can get a small little notebook that is all nice and ready to go for my text block pages. This paper is 28-pound weight, and my signature, which is this text block, has 40 mini pages, which means I used 10 pieces of 28-pound cardstock. To give you an idea, 20-pound is copy paper, 28-pound is what I'm using, 60 and 100-pound are what we use for cardstock on our papers for photo mats. The reason I buy 28 is because it does less bleeding through when you double side print or when you work with this on markers in your planner. I like the 28-pound because I like printing my own planner pages. So that's why I purchased this, and I get that from Office Depot. It's about $24 for 500 sheets, which that's a lot of paper. So that's where I get it from. This is probably 100-pound, to give you an idea. Anyway, so this has 40 sheets, and it is going to fit perfectly on my 1/4 inch strip. That means I need a 1/4 inch bind. Now, if I were to do 80 sheets of this, all I would do is I would double up this. I don't plan on doing that. I kind of want to preserve my glue strips for when I make gifts or other books, but I just wanted to show you a quick tutorial on how to make a cute 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I have my binder clip there to hold my signature together while it's going. And when you cut this, recommendation number 1 is to keep the square edges together. So cut here first. These are your square edges. I would flip it around and cut in half. And then these two pieces, this edge and this edge, go together. And this bottom edge goes together. So this edge right here is actually the outside edge of my paper, so that it's very nice and square. As you can see, hopefully you can see, my trimmer does a horrible job of cutting straight lines, and so I'd rather have the jaggedy edges out here so that I know for a fact that my paper is going to bind correctly. This can be fixed later if I really wanted to. I don't care, it's homemade. But this edge really needs to be flat so that it will adhere to the glue nicely. If it's not, that's when you're going to get pages that will separate from the glue. So that's tip number 1. Make sure to keep your square edges together so that when you bind, it will actually stick to the glue. So I'm going to cut my spine and my covers out of this piece of paper. This paper, I'm lucky, is not directional. It actually kind of seems like it's going this way. So that means I am going to cut this at 5.5. Just like this. And then I'm going to cut at 4.25 and 4.25. I'm even gonna, my trimmer's really been bad about that whole cutting straight thing lately. I think maybe the blade casing is loose. Okay, so here's my 2 covers. And I'm gonna add these to my project. Boom and boom. To get them nice and even, I'm just kind of tapping it on here. And then I'm going to go in and use my binder to hold it all together. You want your bottom surface even as well, so that you have a square edge at least. So there's that. Now what I'm going to do with this piece is I am going to use that as the spine. Now, I don't like how big this is. I really only want this maybe 1 inch in. So I'm going to cut this down to 2.25. So let's see, 2.25. Let's see where that lands. I'm going to go a little bit further because I like having this plaid have a little strip of color on the edge. So that's just personal preference. So that's going to be my spine. So it's going to wrap around. Now, I can discard or do whatever I want for this part. Make another book maybe, because this was only 5.5. That means I have another book worth of stuff. I'm going to take my handy dandy. We are all-in-one tool, and I'm going to score. So finding about the middle, I'm going to go 1 1/8, and then I'm going to go 1/4. Okay, so what's going to happen is this is my spine now. Tip number 2 when making a soft cover book is that in addition to scoring where your spine goes, you're going to score 1/16 of an inch next to your spine. And that's where your pages are going to bend. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold along each of those lines in both directions. So all one way and then all the other. While I'm doing that, so one nice feature that I've noticed about my Thermal Cinch is that if it stays on for too long, it will turn off. Now I don't recommend that because I did need to unplug it for quite some time in order to turn it back on. So just a safety feature there. If you accidentally leave it on, it does turn off, thankfully, but I don't recommend it. I mean, I think it took probably a half hour before it turned off, so you have plenty of time to make a couple books before it turns off on you. You don't want to accidentally cause a house fire because of the thermal cinch. That's where my spine is going to be, and this is going to wrap around just like that, and that's what my book is going to look like when it's done. So, because I don't have lined paper or anything in there, I can choose which one I want to be the front cover, which is kind of nice. That's why I like unlined paper. Okay, tip number 3 is how you're going to adhere these glue strips. When you're adding your glue strips to your spine, you do not want the glue to go from edge to edge. You want just a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch of a space on either end, so then the glue does not go outside of your book. So how I do that is I position my glue not quite to the edge, and then I use my handy dandy cutter to go ahead and cut through it. And then I save this piece. This piece is still really good. It's still got adhesive and all that stuff. So, and then you're going to put this down. Take the release paper off and then put this down. Just like that. So now you got your glue in there. Now we're going to use more binder clips. I'm telling you, these binder clips on this project are your best friend. And the binder clips are metal, so you don't really have to worry about that. We're going to take our binder, or our spine, kind of push it down on in there, and then we're going to take our binder clips and hold it in place. Now what's great about this binding is if, say, a paper doesn't go attached to the glue, that's okay. You can always reheat it. That's why I love this. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm gonna set this in here. If you see inside the machine, there are these things. This is spring loaded so that when I push this in here, it's gonna hold everything upright. And then I press my button and it's going to start flashing blue. It's going to take a minute to heat the whole thing, and when it's done, you'll hear a beep. You heard the beep, that means it's done. We're going to take it out and then set it behind so that it can cool. After about 5 minutes, your book will be cool enough to the touch so you can take a look at what it looks like on the inside. Yep, see, this did not adhere all the way. So now that means I need to do it again. And that's the beauty of this project. You can totally do it again. So I put my book through the thermal cinch again, and now everything is adhered nice and pretty. Now the last step is to glue my spine, and I'm going to add just a little bit of a decorative edge. So I just had some scrap paper, and I am going to add a little bit of a scallop border, and that's going to be super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and use some glue on this. And I'm just worrying about the scallop edge right now. You can, which is something that We Are did with a couple of theirs. Don't be afraid to take your spines to a border punch, just like they did. And in my case, I'm just adding this little bit of a decorative edge to this cute little notebook to add a little something something. Okay, now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to glue this down to my front cover. Super cute. Hit number 4 is to glue your spine onto your cover after you bind it, so then you can manipulate if your cover did not adhere the first time around. When the glue is hot too, you can feel free to kind of tap your spine to make sure everything is in there. Just like we did to get our pages square, you can tap it. So there's my book. Now I'm going to open it. A lot of the tutorials that you see don't actually open the book, they just kind of flip through. I want to show you what it looks like opened because you may be surprised. Now I have that 1/16 of an inch score mark, and that's where my book is going to open to. And I'm going to have to kind of bend it at that point to get it to open. Okay. Then every piece of paper after that is going to have to go over that hump. So this book does not lie flat. It is like a hardcover book. You see that? So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to kind of use that 1/16 of an inch score mark to open this up. And then I'm going to fold my paper along that edge. Now, in the book world, like book reading, book whatever, what I've seen people do is I've seen them actually train their pages and go one by one. This is when you get like a new book and you want it to be kind of flappy on the spine. They go in and they train their pages to open. And that's something that I like to do for these books, because I want the spine to be as user-friendly as possible. So you just take it two at a time and run your finger along the spine to open them up. Now when you close the book, it's going to kind of be open. It's not going to be flat as much because you did just train your papers to be open. But over time, that should relax. Or you can put this under heavy objects if you really don't like the book to be like that, be kind of open. Now when you get to the middle, you can see how the pages will open. And if I close it, it's going to be a little popping up. And that's okay. Just add a big something or other to keep it closed. But now when I open it, it's going to be so much easier to use this notebook. I hate writing on the front page, so I always flip to the second page because I'm weird like that. But now you'll be able to open on both sides. And that is a quick, easy book in under 20 minutes. And it's super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you consider getting your own thermal cinch. They are a lot of fun to make these cute little books, and it's a great present for your friends during any holiday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.